Now, Roma Wines present
Suspense. Tonight, Roma Wines present Humphrey Bogart in Love's Lovely Counterfeit.
Suspense is presented for your enjoyment by Roma Wines. That's Roma, Roma Wines. Those excellent California wines that can add so much pleasantness to the way you live, to your happiness in entertaining guests, to your enjoyment of everyday meals. Yes, right now a glassful would be very pleasant as Roma Wines bring you
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here for the Roma Wine Company of Fresno, California, who tonight from Hollywood bring you as star Mr. Humphrey Bogart, who is currently being seen in the Warner Brothers production To Have and Have Not. Mr. Bogart appears with us tonight in a characteristic tale by James M. Cain, the author of Double Indemnity and other noted contributions to the literature of dangerous adventure and troubled romance. And so, with Love's Lovely Counterfeit, and with the performance of Humphrey Bogart, Roma Wines again hope to keep you in suspense.
That's all right, Lefty. Open up.
Oh, it's you, Ben. Come on in, Ben.
Sal here yet?
No, not yet, but he ought to be pretty soon. Huh?
What's he got on his mind?
I wouldn't know, Ben.
Okay. Hey, what's that coming down the street?
Oh, that must be those poor suckers of Citizens League. They're having a political parade. Yeah, there they are. You can see them through the window.
That must be Jansen, huh? The guy they're running for mayor.
That's right.
Who's the doll riding with him?
What's the matter? Don't you read the papers?
Sure. Yeah, I read Little Abner. Who's that, Davy May?
Her name is June Lyons. She's his new secretary or something, but everybody says she's the brains of his campaign.
Yeah? I could use a little brains like that myself.
Not that kind you couldn't, not that missionary kind.
What about this Jansen?
I keep forgetting that you're new around here. Jansen doesn't have a chance.
Well, he's putting out a lot of publicity. He must have some dough behind him.
Yeah, but you can't elect a reform ticket in a town like this, Ben. Saul's machine is too strong, not unless you got some dirt, some real dirty dirt that smells so bad people can't ignore it. And who's going to get anything on Saul with half of the police force on his payroll?
Sal isn't even worried, huh?
Ah, why should he be? Saul puts up the dough, Maddox wins again, and Saul keeps on running the town. Oh, that must be Saul now.
Hiya, Lefty. Hiya, Benny.
Hiya.
See your draft board today?
Yeah, I saw him.
What'd they say?
Same thing. I still got that hernia from football.
That football hernia comes in pretty handy, don't it?
What's that crack supposed to mean?
What's the matter, Benny? Can't you take a joke?
Sure. I can take a joke.
What you got on this afternoon, Benny?
I guess you forgot. This is my day off.
I said, what you got on this afternoon?
Nothing that I can remember now. Why?
Little job.
What kind of a job?
I got a tip. Some friends of mine may be in a little trouble. Something about a bank.
Why don't you stick to the bookies and the gambling, Sal? You'd be safer.
Listen, Benny. Anytime you think you're big enough to run this business, just let me know. I'll be glad to work something out for you.
What's the job?
These kids are going to crack the Castleton First National just after closing time. They got a room here in this hotel, room 480. They'll be back here about 3:30. You see, I own this hotel, and I want you to go up and collect the room rent. I'm giving them good protection, so I figure it'll come to about 20 grand.
Yeah? We'll figure on getting somebody else to collect it.
What?
I said get somebody else. I don't like guns, and I don't like gunsels, and you know it.
Listen, you punk. You think you're a big guy, don't you? A big guy with muscles, and I'm just a little guy. That's what you think, isn't it? But if you try to cross me, I'll have you crawling to me on your knees. When I get through with you, you'll beg me to use a gun on you because you're yellow, aren't you? Aren't you?
What's the room number?
480.
Come on, Lefty.
Yeah, okay. Gee, that was lousy.
Skipper.
You're gonna do it, though, aren't you?
Sure. I'll see you up there, 3:15. Oh, by the way, what'd you say that dame's name was?
What dame?
That dame with Jansen, that brains of the opposition.
You mean June Lyons?
Yeah, that's it.
Now, wait a minute, Ben. You know that's poison. If Saul ever thought that...
You know, Lefty, Miss Lyons interests me in more ways than one.
Tonight, for suspense, Roma Wines are bringing you as star Mr. Humphrey Bogart, whom you have heard in the first act of Love's Lovely Counterfeit, a radio play from the novel by James M. Cain, which is tonight's tale of suspense presented by Roma Wines.
This is Truman Bradley for Roma Wines. Mention the name of Elsa Maxwell, and you picture a famous hostess, expert in every phase of entertaining. Mention a meal featuring fish or fowl, and Elsa Maxwell pictures, but let's hear it in her own words.
The thought of a piping hot fish or chicken dinner naturally calls up for me the picture of glasses of chilled Roma Sauterne at each plate. Roma California Sauterne is delicate, pale gold in color, delightful in bouquet, and even more important, exquisite in taste. Roma Sauterne goes perfectly with any food and tastes as good whether served in ordinary or fancy glasses. The one important thing to remember about this distinguished Sauterne is the name, Roma.
Each glassful of golden Roma Sauterne reflects the heritage of all Roma wines. Choice grapes, slowly brought to perfection in fertile California's choicest vineyards, then gently pressed, then carefully guided with the ancient wine-making skill of Roma wineries to the full goodness you enjoy in every Roma wine. Roma wines do not vary, are always high in quality of bouquet, color, and flavor. Yet all this Roma wine goodness is yours for only pennies a glass. No wonder more Americans enjoy Roma than any other wines. R-O-M-A, Roma Wines.
And now it is with pleasure that Roma Wines bring back to our soundstage Mr. Humphrey Bogart, who, in the character of Ben Grace, keeps an adventurous rendezvous in Love's Lovely Counterfeit, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
All right, get rolling.
Are you,
That's right, get rolling. So you're June Lyons, the brains of the opposition.
What's this hot tip you told me about over the phone? I don't have much time.
What's the matter? You worried?
Not particularly.
You don't have to be. I'm not interested in you.
Why do you want to see Jansen elected?
Suppose you let me ask the questions.
All right.
I'll ask you the same one. Why are you working for Johnson?
Oh, I'm just one of those crazy idealists, I guess.
Just a missionary, huh?
Well, Jansen may not be the best man in the world, but at least he isn't hooked up with a racketeer like Saul Casper, the way Maddox is.
June.
Oh, it's June now, is it? What's your name?
Maybe I'll tell you that later, and maybe I won't. Listen, June. If you were one of those earnest kids who stand around on street corners handing out leaflets, I might believe you wanted to reform the world, but you're not. I know that you know that electing Johnson isn't going to reform the world or even reform Lake City. It just doesn't make that much difference.
Well, it does to me. But there's something else, too.
Like what?
If Jansen wins, of course, I'll get a city job out of it. A good one.
That's more like it.
But I want to explain why.
You don't have to explain anything.
But I want to. I'm a lawyer. At least I have a degree from law school. And I want to be a good lawyer. If you start out on your own, it can take years. But with the right job at City Hall, you can build up a practice in no time.
Okay. As long as it's the dough you're thinking about, we can do business.
Oh, it isn't just money.
I know. Now listen. I know. You're a missionary. Now listen, if I give you some dirt on Sal Casper that'll send him up for 10 years or so, Jansen wins, right?
Well, if you can prove it.
You're going to prove it. 3 punks from Chicago are sticking up the Castleton First National Bank at about 3 this afternoon. Sal Casper's hiding them out at his hotel, room 480. If there's any shooting at the bank and anybody gets killed, it'll be that much better. You'll have them for accessory to murder. You have your people there at 4 o'clock. I'll take care of the rest.
Well, if we come out with this and it can't be proved, it's criminal libel. And that's all Jansen needs to really lose.
So, what do you think?
I think you're working for Maddox and Casper.
Well, that could be. But at least I know my law.
What law?
The Castleton Bank is insured by the government. That makes the stick-up a federal rap. If you want the number of the FBI, I'll give it to you.
Oh.
And for your information, my name is Ben Grace, and I work for Sal Casper, so I'm not a guy who's in a very good position to go around giving phony tips to the FBI. You can pull right up here.
Why are you doing this?
Because I just decided Sal Casper is mean, and he's greedy. That enough?
If you say so. Room 480 at 4 o'clock. Ben,
Yeah?
will I see you afterwards?
Now, don't worry, baby. You'll see me. So this is room 480. Huh. Looks just like room 481. Hiya, Lefty.
Sit down, Ben. You didn't take it too hard, what Sally said, did you?
I can't say I liked it. What time is it?
Oh, a couple of minutes to 4. You know, it's too bad about you, Ben.
What's too bad?
That you don't like trouble. You could go a long way in this racket, Ben, because you got brains. Now, me, I don't have the brains.
I wouldn't.
Did I ever tell you how I started, Ben?
No.
I was a preacher.
A what?
Yep, a preacher. So help me. By rights, I still am. Look here, I got the license right here in my wallet. It was one of those hillbilly outfits, and the bishop, as he called himself, was so far away from me that he never ever heard about me, I guess. Anyway, he never canceled the license.
The Reverend Richard Jose Gauss. Yeah, that's one for the books, Lefty.
I was just a kid. But I got hooked up with one of those big-time evangelists, and if I'd stuck to it, I could have hit the big time myself. But you know what I did? The first time we made a really big take, I tied a handkerchief over my face, got me a rod, and stick up the cash box. And they caught me. That's how I know I haven't got brains.
I wouldn't let it worry you, Lefty.
That's not what's worrying me now, Ben.
Huh? What is?
What's going to be happening in here in a couple of minutes? You ever sat in on a divvy before, Ben?
No. I wouldn't be now, except for the manpower shortage.
These are 3 wild kids, Ben. Chances are they'll be coked to the ears and slobbering at the mouth with being half scared to death and half crazy with excitement, thinking how much dough they got and what big shot public enemies they are. And we, you and me, we got to walk up and take 20 grand away from them.
All right. Here they are. So now we're going to find out how it's done.
This is it. Get him in here.
Oh, Johnny, don't leave me. Will you, Johnny?
Get him over there on the chair. Who are you?
I'm the man that collects the room rent.
Yeah, well, stick him up. Frisk him, Marty.
Go ahead. I don't need a rod to handle punks like you.
This guy's clean, Johnny. What about the other one?
He's with me, and he's got a gun, and don't try to take it away from him because it's an old family heirloom, and he's fond of it.
Oh, yeah?
Now stop acting like something you've seen in a movie and put that cannon away. Might drop it and break somebody's foot.
Johnny.
What's the matter with your pal there?
He got shot.
Anybody else?
No. The guard shot him when we were pulling out.
Oh, Johnny.
You better get him over there on that
Johnny, we're
bed.
going too fast, Johnny.
Yeah?
We're going too fast. We're going too fast.
He's out of his head.
Yeah. You get the dough?
Did we get the dough? Look at this wise guy. 40 grand, maybe more.
You know how much this room is costing you?
How much?
20 grand.
20 grand.
That's right. I'll be back after a while to collect it. What are you going to do with your pal there with the holes in it?
I don't know.
Johnny.
You know that's bad, don't you?
Why?
Kid's out of his head already. Suppose he makes trouble, starts screaming or something.
You got doctors, haven't you?
Sure, but that kind of a doctor, that's one more guy that'll have to get a cut. Pretty soon you guys won't have anything left but small change.
That's what you think.
But, of course, maybe the kid will die.
Yeah? Then what do we do? That's even worse.
Oh, no. No, that'll be easy. We'll be seeing you.
I hope you know what you're doing, Ben.
I think so. Come on, I got the room next door.
You know you're just as good as signing that kid's death warrant, don't you?
That's right.
The other two will knock him off now before we got time to do it.
Now, listen, I got the transom open, connecting your door.
What you gonna do? Johnny? No! No! No!
They did it.
Yeah. Maybe we better call Sal, huh?
I hope you know what you're doing.
Give me Mr. Casper. Ben Gray speaking.
Yes, sir. I hope you know what you're doing, Ben.
Sal, this is Ben. You better come up to room 480, Sal. They want to see you personally. I said they want to see you personally. Well, you want your dough or don't you? I'm not going to wrestle them for it. Okay. They'll be right up.
Then what?
What do you mean, then what?
Ben,
Yeah?
if you got any little plans, you know I'm all for 'em, don't you?
Sure.
And you know I hope they come off, don't you?
Sure.
But if they don't come off, you know where I stand on that, too, don't you?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know. You stand right behind me with a gun in my back.
Just so you know, Ben.
You know, I can see how you would have made a preacher, Lefty. You got a terrible streak of honesty in you.
Just so you know, Ben.
Now, listen, there he is.
I'm Saul Casper. What's going on here?
There's been a little trouble, Mr. Casper.
What kind of trouble?
Archie, he just died.
Guy.
He was shot.
All right, so we'll get him out of here tonight. You got the dough?
Sure, we got it.
That's it.
Here.
All right, put up your hands, all of you.
What is this?
Department of Justice. You're all under arrest.
Well, that's all, pal.
Ben, where you going?
I got a date with a missionary.
Ben.
Hello, baby. Where's my good evening kiss?
Oh, Ben, please. I want to talk to you.
What about?
Don't you know?
Yeah, I guess maybe I do.
Oh, we can't go on like this, Ben. It isn't right. It isn't fair to Jansen. It isn't fair to... Well, it isn't fair to me.
What's so unfair about it?
You know what's unfair about it. Mr. Jansen promised the people of Lake City that if he got elected, he'd clean up the town.
All right, why doesn't he do it? He's had 6 months.
Because he doesn't even know what's going on.
Great. Then what's the beef?
Well, I know what's going on. The horse racing places and the gambling places and all the other places are just as open as they ever were. And I know who's keeping them open.
Of course you do. I am. Listen, honey, if I wasn't bossing the organization, someone else would be. People like to bet. People like to gamble.
Ben, don't you see? I'm a city official. I have an obligation to the people of this community. To the people who elected Johnson because they believed in...
Still a missionary, huh?
Well, I'm not a racketeer.
Maybe not. But you're the next thing to it.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, where do you think the dough came from for that car I got you and the fur coat and this place?
You never told me.
Did I have to? You knew I didn't get it from a long-lost uncle. Well, why don't you admit it, baby? You're a chiseler.
Am I?
Sure, just like me. Only I'm honest about it. You are not.
Then I will be. Starting now. Starting tonight.
What are you going to do, turn me in?
Oh, Ben.
Maybe your big mistake was falling in love with me, baby. Now there isn't much you can do about it, is
Oh,
there?
Ben, quit it, please. Get out of it. For my sake. Just because I don't like it. Because I hate it.
Maybe I don't like it either. It's all I know how to do.
What was...
Hiya, Benny.
Sal,
Surprised?
kind of. Did you break out?
Yeah, just to see you, Benny. Put up your hands.
You know I never carry a rod.
Maybe you sort of wish you did now, huh? Not that you'd have a chance to use it.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to kill your boyfriend, sweetheart. And when I've done that, I'll think of something real nice to do to you.
Oh,
You sit right there where you are, sweetheart. Benny, you start backing up to that door. Slow. That's a bathroom, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I'll kill you in the bathtub, Benny. That way it'll be quiet. There won't be so much of a mess. Now, reach behind you real careful and open the door. And when I tell you to start backing in, you back in. All right, start backing.
Up! Don't leave me down. June!
Is he?
Yeah. Since when have you been carrying a gun?
Just lately. Ben, are you all right?
Yeah, I just want to sit down a minute.
Oh, Ben.
We got to get out of here, baby.
Ben, listen to me. We'll go away. We'll get out of the country. We'll go to Canada.
Sure.
We can get married there. You do want to marry me, don't you, Ben?
No, you know I do, baby.
You can join the army up there. I'll do something, too. We'll do something decent with our lives. Oh, darling, I know it's been partly my fault. I know I've been weak, but it isn't too late to begin again, is it, darling?
Maybe not. But your aim on that second shot wasn't too good, baby.
Ben.
So there's just one thing that's stopping us.
Ben, what?
The bullet hole in my belly.
Well, hello, Big Shot. You've been in the land of Nod, haven't you?
Where am I?
The city hospital.
Yeah? What are you doing here?
Reading the funny papers, can't you tell?
Why can't you read them at home?
Because there's been a little thing that we policemen call murder, Big Shot. You're what we call a material witness.
Where's June? June Lyons.
She's in a nice, cozy cell. When she comes to trial, your statement will probably send her up for 5 or 10 years to another nice, cozy cell.
What statement?
Oh, you talk.
Yeah?
You know what you got, Big Shot?
Sure. I got ventilated with a lead slug.
Yeah, but that's not all. You got peritonitis.
Oh, I have. So what?
So, I've seen guys with peritonitis before. You know what happens? First, they start getting a fever. Then they get kind of lightheaded. Then they get thirsty, terribly thirsty. And after a while, you get so you can make them talk without they hardly know that they're talking. Yeah, you talk, all right.
You think so?
I know so.
Where's Lefty Gauss?
You mean your faithful servant? He's right outside.
Can I talk to him alone?
Sure, why not? Hey, Putty Nose, your boss wants to see you.
Thanks, you funny fella. How you been? How you feeling?
Not too good. I got some plans to talk over with you, Lefty.
Okay.
Flatfoot.
Yeah, what do we have now, Big Shot?
You say the DA wants me to talk, huh?
Maybe he was just pretending.
Well, suppose I had some conditions.
Like what?
Well, like I only talk in the apartment where it happened, June Lyons' apartment. June Lyons has got to be there. And Lefty here, too, to back up some things I might say.
That might be arranged.
You think the DA might forget a couple of those little things he's been holding against me if I talk?
That'd be the general idea.
Okay. You can close the door as you go out and tell the DA to be around in about an hour. I'll talk.
All I'm saying is that I won't be responsible. Dragging a man in his condition way out here in an ambulance, lugging him up 3 flights of stairs on a stretcher.
Doc, that's the way he wanted it, and that's the way it's going to be. All right, everybody here. Miss Lyons?
Yes.
Lefty Gauss?
Yes,
How is he, Doctor?
I've already told you. But he can talk.
Stop worrying about me, Mr. DA. You're breaking my heart.
Are you ready to start, Ben?
Uh-huh. Can I have a glass of water?
Yes, of course.
Thanks. All right, I'm ready.
Do you, Ben, take this woman, June, to be thy lawful wedded wife, to love and to cherish, for better, for worse, to death do you part?
What's going on here?
Quiet.
I do.
Do you, June, take this man, Ben, to be thy lawful wedded husband, to love and to cherish, for better, for worse, till death do you part?
I do.
I pronounce...
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh, yes, I do. I'm a licensed preacher, and this is Miss June Lyons' apartment, and it's outside the city's jurisdiction. It's in the county. And this marriage license was taken out at the county courthouse 1 minute before they closed today. And when I sign it, brother, it's legal. I pronounce you man and wife.
I suppose you've heard that a man can't testify against his wife, Mr. D.A.
Yes, I know.
Oh, and by the way, you mind if I kiss the bride?
Oh, go ahead.
Ben, darling. That was the finest thing.
Oh, that was nice.
Ben, your face is so hot.
Yeah. I thought maybe I was going to make it, baby, but I guess I'm not.
Oh, Ben. Ben. Doctor, quick, doctor.
So long, missionary. Mrs. Missionary.
Oh, no. Oh, Ben.
Oh, Lord, we pray thee to receive the spirit of our dearly departed and to forgive him his trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us.
And so closes Roma Wine's presentation of Love's Lovely Counterfeit, starring Humphrey Bogart, and written by James M. Cain. Urine Tuttle appeared as June opposite Mr. Bogart in tonight's study in Suspense.
Before Mr. Humphrey Bogart returns to our microphone, this is Truman Bradley for Roma Wines. Few hostesses have entertained as extensively, as often as the world-renowned hostess, Miss Elsa Maxwell. That's why these words of hers are significant.
Back in the horse and buggy days, the serving of wine was surrounded by all manner of complicated do's and don'ts. Today, it's fashionable to serve delicious Roma wines whenever and however you choose. For example, the delicious, versatile Roma California Tokay is a light, moderately sweet, flame-bright wine that goes well before or after meals, during the cocktail hour, actually delightful at any time. Everyone enjoys the velvety, smooth, rich flavor of Roma Tokay, served cool.
While Roma Tokay is different in flavor from other Roma wines, it is like them in these respects. Always delicious, never varying in fine quality. And since Roma wines cost only pennies a glass, you can serve them often. Remember, more Americans enjoy Roma than any other wine. And the next time you use vermouth, sweet or dry, choose Roma vermouth. Zestful, full-flavored Roma vermouth is blended, mellowed, and developed with all the traditional winemaking skill of the Roma wineries, yet surprisingly low-priced. Try Roma vermouth soon, won't you?
This is Humphrey Bogart. It's been a great pleasure and privilege to appear for the Suspense audience, and I hope they'll have me back soon. I'm certainly going to make it a point to hear next Thursday's Suspense show, which sounds like one of the most unusual of the year. Two of the most distinguished ladies of the acting profession will be your stars. There's 75 years difference between their ages. They are Miss Margaret O'Brien and Dame May Whitty.
Suspense is produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Next Thursday, same time, Roma Wines will present Dame May Whitty and Margaret O'Brien as co-stars of Suspense.
Presented by Roma Wines, R-O-M-A, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, We suggest that you pay particular attention to an important announcement, which will be given at the end of tonight's program.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Personnel Division. A resident of your city files a report of robbery and assault. The suspect, a rookie police officer. Your job, arrest him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, transcribed in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, April 9th. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of Personnel. My partner's Ben Romero, the boss's Deputy Chief Holman, Commander BIA. My name's Friday. We're on the way over from the City Hall, and it was 5:25 p.m. when we got to Central Division. The assembly room.
See him, Joe?
Yeah, it looks like him over there.
I'll let you know.
Hi. You Russell Clark?
Yeah, that's right.
Friday and Romero, Personnel.
All right.
Lieutenant Drummond over at BIA would like to talk to you.
All right. When do you want to see me?
Right now.
Okay. All right, we're looking for Cap. Okay, let's go. What do they want to see me about, you know?
Drummond will tell you.
Okay.
How long you been on the job, Clark?
About 2.5 months.
How do you like it?
Oh, I like it fine. Wife doesn't think much of it. She wanted me to stay at my old job.
What was that?
Selling insurance. I like to have me home nights. Doesn't like to be alone, especially now.
Yeah?
Well, she's expecting in a couple of months. You know how they get.
Yeah. Just across here.
Hey, I put in a request for day work. Do you think that's why Personnel wants to see me?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Boy, I'd sure like to get that day watch.
Yeah.
That the way you fellas started?
I did, yeah. You started in traffic, didn't you, Ben?
Yeah, huh? Had 9 months of it. Go ahead, Clark.
No, thanks. I have to be on the job at 6. Think it's going to take very long?
I don't know.
Hi, Friday.
Hi.
Right in, Lieutenant's waiting. Personnel, Coleman. Lieutenant?
Yeah, come in.
This is Officer Clark, Lieutenant Drummond.
How do you do, sir?
How are you, Clark? Sit down.
Thanks.
A couple of questions for you.
Yes, sir?
You were on special duty at the Olympic Auditorium last night, is that right?
Yes, sir, for the fights.
Anything unusual happen out there last night?
Well, it wasn't very important, Lieutenant. After the fights, a drunk fell down the stairs. On the way out of the auditorium, broke his arm. I took him to Georgia Street, and they took care of the arm, and I drove him home. He was pretty drunk.
Why didn't you book the man?
I didn't think it was necessary.
How long you been with the department, Clark?
2.5 months, sir.
Didn't you know he should have been booked for violation of 4127A LAMC?
Well, the man was in pretty bad shape, Lieutenant. Broken arm. I guess I didn't think the law was that strict.
Law's there for a purpose. You decided to forget it, now you're in a mess, right up to your neck.
I don't understand.
You remember the name of that drunk you took care of last night?
Yes, sir. His name was Stacy. Lives out in West L.A. What's the matter, Lieutenant?
That drunk, Mr. Stacy, wants to file a complaint against you.
What for?
He claims you took him back to the auditorium, beat him up, broke his arm, and robbed him of $128.
Oh, he's crazy. He's lying. I didn't do that.
You got his word against yours, Clark. Facts seem to favor him.
But I can prove it. Well, there was at least a couple of dozen people around. There was a doctor. He can tell you.
Maybe you better take it from the beginning, Clark. Exactly how did it happen?
I was right after the fights. I was on duty in the lobby, and I saw a bunch of people crowding around the foot of the stairs.
Yeah?
I went over to see what the trouble was, and they were looking at this man lying on the pavement. It was Stacy. A doctor was examining him.
This doctor, did he identify himself?
Yeah. I asked for his identification. He showed it to me. Gave me a card. He was doctor, all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, he told me that he'd seen Stacy fall down the stairs coming out of the auditorium. Said that Stacy had broken his left arm.
What'd you do then?
Well, the doc said it'd be okay to move him, so I helped him into my car and took him down to Georgia Street. He was so drunk he could hardly stand up. The attendants at Georgia Street took care of his arm. Well, they can tell you all about this.
Maybe, but they can't help you out as witnesses. You could have beaten up Stacy, robbed him, then taken him to Georgia Street.
But I didn't, Lieutenant. I tell you that Stacy's lying.
What'd you do when you left Georgia Street?
Well, I drove into Central and told him what happened. I told the watch commander I was going to drive this Stacy home, and he warned me about it. Guess I should have known better, but... Well, I swear to you that Stacy's lying.
You should have known better. Where'd you go after you left Central?
I drove him home. On the way, he said he was hungry, so I stopped. I bought him a sandwich and some black coffee. Kept telling me what a nag his wife was. Said he was afraid to go home.
Go on.
Well, when I got into his place, his wife started chewing me out. I just said goodnight and left.
That's it, huh?
That's it. So help me, that's exactly what happened.
Now, how about the doctor at the auditorium, the one who saw Stacy fall? Did you get his name and address?
Well, no, Lieutenant, I didn't. I didn't think it was necessary.
How about the crowd that was standing around? Did you spot anybody you know?
No, I didn't. They're just a bunch of people coming out of the fights.
Then you haven't got anyone to corroborate your story.
But all those people saw it. There must have been a couple of dozen of them.
What are their names?
Well, I don't know. All I know is I didn't beat him up and I didn't take his money. I tell you, the Stacy's lying.
You could be lying. We got no proof either way.
I'm not lying, Lieutenant. I didn't do it.
We might believe you, Clark. That doesn't make any difference. If this man files a 211 against you, it's got to be settled in court.
But I didn't do it. I tell you, I swear I did.
Just a minute. Mike, send in Mr. and Mrs. Stacy, will you? You can hear the story the way we get it from Stacy and his wife.
I'd like to hear it. I don't know why he's doing this to me. I helped him all I could.
Look, Jerry, there he is. That's the one.
Yeah, that's him, Chief.
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Stacy. What's this all about?
Hold it, Clark. Mr. Stacy, would you repeat the same story you told us this morning, please?
You know what I told you, Chief. You had the stenographer take it all down. It's the same thing.
I'd like to have you repeat it in front of Officer Clark here. He's entitled to know what you're charging him with.
A man like that's entitled to nothing. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Look, lady, your husband's lying.
Don't call my husband a liar. You're not a policeman. You're a hoodlum.
All right, wait a minute.
I'd like to know what this city's coming to. Cops going around beating up private citizens. Who do we trust if we can't trust a policeman?
Just a minute, please.
You don't know, Captain. You should have seen my husband when that officer brought him home last night. Arm all bandaged, his face all cut up. He was hurt so bad he could hardly stand up.
He was too drunk to stand up, lady.
Don't you get fresh with me, man.
All right, that's enough.
This cop got hold of me as I was coming out of the fights. Took me in back of the auditorium. Told me if I didn't hand over my wallet, he'd book me on a drunk charge.
Were you drunk, Stacy?
I was not. Had a couple of beers, that's all. When I wouldn't give him my money, he beat me up. Broke my arm and took my wallet.
How do men like you ever get on the police force?
He figured he'd cover up, so he took me and had my arm fixed at the emergency hospital. Then he drove me home. Threatened me all the way. He said, you tell anybody about this and I'll get you. That's just what he said.
I don't get it, Stacy. You know that story's a pack of lies. Why are you doing this to me?
It's the truth. And I'm going to press charges and get my money back.
$128. What have you done with it?
We can take care of the questioning, Mrs. Stacy.
I don't see you doing it. Make him tell. Where's our money?
I haven't got it.
Don't talk back to me.
Mr. Stacy, you and your wife want to file a crime report at this time.
We want to press charges.
Romero?
Yeah?
Take Mr. and Mrs. Stacy down to Record Bureau. Have them make out a report for 211 and assault.
All right. Get them away, please.
Now, listen. We're going to get action if we have to take this to the district attorney. We're not afraid of the publicity. We'll go to the newspaper if we don't get action.
Yes, ma'am.
What's it, Clark?
They're lying. I can't prove it, but they're lying.
Well, you can see the position it puts us in. If you're innocent, we'll do all we can. If you're guilty, we'll see you get everything that's coming to you.
But they're lying. You know that.
It's not up to us. The court's going to have to decide.
That's it.
That's it.
No, there's no other way, Clark. We got 4,500 men in the department. We don't claim they're all saints. Once in a while, a bad cop comes along and pulls a caper, and all of us get a black eye. This book of rules is the only protection we got against that. By failing to enforce the law, you violated your duty as a police officer. Got yourself in a real mess, Clark. Like anybody else, you get a fair trial.
Does that mean I'm dropping the force?
And those people have filed a crime report. Draw suspension pending the outcome of the case. After that, if you're cleared, there'll be a hearing before the Board of Rights.
Right through right now?
You'll be booked for robbery and assault in Hilton County Jail. Case will be presented to the district attorney tomorrow.
What can I do?
I'll have to have your badge. On the desk. Your gun? ID card?
Yeah.
On the desk.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, that's it.
Okay.
Take him.
6 p.m. Ben returned to the office, and together we took rookie police officer Russell Clark across the street to the Hall of Justice. At the county jail booking desk on the 12th floor, he was booked on suspicion of 211 PC and assault with intent to do great bodily harm. He was lodged in the cell block. Investigating charges against a police officer involves exactly the same procedure as cases where private citizens are concerned. Prove the suspect innocent or guilty. That's the job. If Clark was innocent, it looked like there was only one way of proving it. That was somehow to find the unnamed doctor who was supposed to have seen Stacy fall down the auditorium stairs and then examined him afterward. If Clark was guilty, we had to find proof that his story about Stacy falling downstairs was a lie. Besides that, we had to find evidence that he beat up Stacy at the rear of the auditorium that night and that he robbed him of $128. Thursday, April 10th. Ben and I checked in for work at 7:45 a.m. and found a message from the jailer on the phone board. Clark wanted to see us right away. We met with him in the county jail interview room.
How you doing? Not too bad.
Don't let it sour you, huh?
Sergeant, you really think I rolled that character? Come on, tell me the truth.
We checked you out. Good family. You got a fine Army record. No, we don't think you did it.
I just can't understand why he picked me out. I tried to help him all I could. Then he walks in the next day with a frame story like that.
You got any idea why Stacy would pull something like this on you?
I don't know. I'm worried, Sergeant. Believe me, I can't afford to sit here missing my pay. We live pretty close to the budget with a baby coming. I'm worried about the wife. I just don't know what to do.
Are you sure you told us everything about this that you remember?
Well, that's the one reason I wanted to see you. I didn't sleep much last night. I kept trying to remember the name of that doctor.
Yeah?
Well, I remember once he did mention his name, and then when I asked for his identification, he showed me one of his cards.
Any idea what his name was?
Well, I'm not sure, but as I remembered, it was some kind of a Swedish or Norwegian name, something like Johnson, Tollefson, something with a son on the end of it. It's on that card.
That doesn't narrow it down too much. Where is the card?
Well, I think I put his card in one of the pockets of my other uniform shirt. That's why I called you. I wonder if you could check that for me. It's at home.
Sure. Where do you live?
Out on Norwich Road, 411. It's right near the Coliseum.
411.
Yeah.
All right, we'll check it out for you.
Just ask the wife, will you? The card should be in one of the pockets.
Yeah, if you put it there. Ben and I left the interview room at the county jail and drove out to the home of Officer Clark on Norwich Road. We introduced ourselves to his wife and told her what we were after. Her eyes were red and looked like she'd been crying. She asked about her husband. We told her he was all right.
They're making a terrible mistake, Sergeant. Russ never did anything crooked in his life. He didn't do it. I know he didn't.
We'll do everything we can to straighten it out, Mrs. Clark. The court will have the final say.
I knew Russ shouldn't have left his insurance job. I just knew it, all this trouble.
How about that shirt that your husband told us about, the one he wore that night at the auditorium?
Oh, yes, his other uniform shirt.
Mm-hmm. Can we see it, please?
Oh, yes, certainly. It's right this way, back in bed. What's so important about the shirt, Sergeant?
Your husband told us that there might be a card in one of the pockets. Might help clear up things.
Well, it should be hanging up here in the closet. I always like to keep Russ's shirts on hangers. He keeps them much nicer looking.
What's the matter?
This morning I sent it to the cleaners.
Clark's wife, Ben, and I drove down to a dry cleaning shop a few blocks away where Mrs. Clark had left the shirt. The counter girl there told us that the truck had already been by that morning and picked up the day's cleaning. It was a store rule to check all garments for contents. She had found nothing. We got the address of the main plant, the Great Northern Dry Cleaners, a place down on Factory Street. 10:15 a.m. We checked in at the main plant and explained to the manager what we were after. We gave him the tag number of her cleaning, and Mrs. Clark gave him the description of the shirt. We waited in the manager's office while he made a search for the dark blue wool police shirt.
How about this one, lady? It's the only blue wool shirt picked up at your cleaners this morning.
Yes, that's Russ's shirt. That pocket flap there, I mended it.
I'll check the pockets for you. I had to pull it out of the tank. It's all wet.
Anything?
Not in this pocket. Try the other one.
Yeah?
Look for yourself.
Nothing.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Northwest Airlines stewardess Jean Madsen. This is her actual signed statement.
There's one thing I really look forward to after a long flight. A good, mild smoke. That's why I prefer the new king-size Fatima. It's milder than any other long cigarette I've tried. Yes, I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Thursday, April 10th. Shortly after noon, the daily newspapers were on the streets, and the head on one of the top front page stories read, "Rookie cop slugs rob citizen." Ben and I went back to the county jail and told Clark that we'd failed to find the card. He could give us no other lead that might help in clearing the case. During the next 2 days that followed, Ben and I ran down every possible lead, no matter how remote it was. I made a thorough check on Mr. and Mrs. Stacy. We double-checked back on Clark's record. For one full day, we did nothing but phone doctors in and around the city of Los Angeles. From a list of hundreds, we came across 3 doctors who had been present at the fights in Olympic Auditorium on the night Stacy claimed he was beaten up and robbed by Officer Clark. None of the 3 had seen a man tumble down the stairway leading from the balcony to the lobby. None of them had seen any accident or had been called on to help anyone professionally. Monday, April 14th, we met with Lieutenant Ralph Drummond.
No go, huh? That's got us, Ralph. We can't figure. It's almost a fact Stacy's lying. Clark, what about him?
Well, there's still nothing to show that he didn't do it. He had the opportunity. Maybe he had a motive. He needs money, you know.
Who doesn't? How much you get on Stacy?
He and his wife run a second-hand furniture store in South Flower. It's a small business. Stacy's quite a gambler. He bets on the fights.
Yeah?
We checked around with some of the gang down at the auditorium. Stacy's well known down there. He laid some pretty heavy bets the night he claims Clark rolled him.
How much?
You got the dope there, Ben. How's it figure out?
He lost over $75 in small amounts. Add to that the fact that he was doing some partying. That might account for the 128 this measure. Stacy blew the roll, was afraid to tell his wife, so he cooked up the story against Clark.
Yeah, sure. Maybe that could have been the way it happened.
What do you got on the other side? Not much, Ralph. Couldn't dig up anything against Clark. I don't know. He doesn't seem like the type to pull something like that. Maybe not. You still can't prove he didn't do it. How about the papers? You've been plugging for witnesses?
Yeah. Here's the ad. Had it running in personals for 4 days now.
Thanks.
All those saw a man fall down the stairway in the auditorium. Tuesday, please call Michigan 5211-875. No results, sir.
No. All the possible doctors in town have been checked out, too.
How about the local medical magazines?
Got an ad in there, Ralph. Nothing's happened.
Well,
one thing is sure, something's got to happen. Newspapers are scorching the kid and the department along with him. Victim without a trial makes good reading in the tabloids.
There's one thing I can't understand. If Clark's leveling and there was a doctor at the fights that might have looked at Stacy, then where's the doctor? We've had this thing noised all around town.
Well, give it a little more time. He might turn up. I kind of like the Stacy angle.
How do you mean?
Well, suppose we get him in here. Think we could break him down under questioning?
No, I doubt that. We can't even get close to him. That wife of his and that lawyer, they're with him all the time. He's afraid to talk to us.
Maybe if we pass the word to his wife he'd been gambling, how far can we go on that?
Well, she might believe us, she might not. You've seen what she's like.
Yeah. I got an idea he sold her on a story, and she's tagging along to get the $128 back.
It gives me an idea, Joe. One thing we might have missed.
Yeah, what's that?
We found out that Stacy did a little partying before he went to the fights at the auditorium that night, didn't we?
Yeah, go ahead.
We checked out a couple of the bars he was drinking at, but we figure he must have parted away at least $50 out of that $128.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't spend that much at the bars.
Oh, well, sure. He probably hit a few other places, too.
That's what I mean. There's still a lot of money to drink up alone.
You figure a woman?
Maybe.
You got any reason to think Stacy plays around?
Just one.
Yeah?
His wife.
Monday, 1 p.m. Ben and I started to canvass of bars and small nightclubs in the general area around the Olympic Auditorium. We started with those where Stacy was a regular customer. We failed to turn up any leads. Either the bartenders refused to tell us or they had no knowledge of Stacy's running around with other women. We kept at it. Another day passed. 2 days. Nothing. One of the newspapers started a campaign against the brutality of police officers. On Thursday, we got a tip from a bartender at a place out on Washington Street, the Brown Cow. He told us that he thought he saw a man answering Stacy's description in his bar a few nights before with a flashy blonde in her late 20s. He said he didn't know Stacy too well, but he knew the girl, and he knew the hotel where she stayed. Her name was Sandra Gay, an acrobatic specialty dancer at a cheap nightclub. We checked out her hotel, but she wasn't in. We left word for her to get in touch with us, and then we picked up a hamburger and some potato salad for lunch and checked back in at the office.
How you doing, Coleman?
Not as good as you two.
How do you mean?
Can't you smell a perfume? It's off a blonde named Sandra Gay. She's waiting in the next room. Won't talk to anybody but you.
Thanks. Come on, Ben. Didn't waste much time, did she?
Perfume. Sure strong.
Your name, Sandra Gay?
Yeah, that's right. You the fellas been looking for me?
Drop by your hotel. We'd like to ask you a few questions.
Sure, it's all right.
This is my partner, Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday.
How you doing?
Oh, Romero. Kind of cute for a cop. What can I help you with?
Do you know anybody by the name of Gerald Stacy, Miss Gay?
Gerald, yeah, I hate that name.
Do you know any man who calls himself that?
No, I think that's a terrible name for a man, Gerald.
The man we have in mind is pretty short, stocky build, dark hair, and he wears steel-rimmed glasses.
Yeah, where's he hang out?
Place out in Washington, the Brown Cow. Supposed to have been seen with you. Gerald Stacy.
Oh, yeah, I think I know who you mean. Furniture business. He runs a place near the Brown Cow.
That's right. You know him?
Oh, Pop, sure I know him. We get together once in a while. He's a kick.
Pretty big spender?
Yeah, when he's got it, yeah. Last time we went out, he was fine. He can kick it around when he wants to. Oh, Pops.
When's the last time you were out with him, Miss Gay?
Maybe a week, 2 weeks ago. It was a Tuesday night, I think. Yeah.
Tuesday the 8th? Is that about right?
Yeah, it must have been it. Why, what's it all about?
Did you spend most of the evening with him?
No, I had to get back to the club, do my act. He went on to the fights over at Olympia.
I get it. Personnel, Friday.
Is this Sergeant Friday?
Yes, that's right.
This is Dr. Samuelson talking, Sergeant. I've been out of town. I just got back this morning. I saw the ad in the paper.
Yes, sir?
I was at the fights that night, Sergeant. What did you want to know?
Would you mind telling us, Doctor, did you see a man fall down one of the stairways to the lobby?
Certainly. I was the one who examined him.
5 p.m. Mr. and Mrs. Stacy were called to Lieutenant Drummond's office. Arrangements were made to have Officer Russell Clark brought over from his cell in county jail. At 5:15, Ben and I checked into the lieutenant's office. Stacy and his wife were already there.
I'm certainly proud of our police department, Chief. No whitewashing this time. You gave that fella exactly what he had coming.
Thanks. You sure you didn't make a mistake?
I'm sure, Chief. That's the right man. You got him.
Jerry, don't make mistakes on things like this, Inspector. How about our money, the $128? He tell you where he hid it?
No, he hasn't. We're bringing Officer Clark in from county jail. Figure we try to crack him.
That's right. Make him tell what he did with our money.
Joe, will you have Officer Clark brought in?
By the way.
All right.
There he is. Where's our money? What have you done with it?
Just a minute, please. Stacy, you sure Officer Clark here's the man who beat you up and robbed you?
Of course he is. Dragged me behind the auditorium and almost beat me to death. Broke my arm, took all my money.
$128. Where is it?
I haven't got your money.
Joe, bring the doctor in.
Right, Lieutenant. In here, Doc.
All right. Mr. Stacy, you're a liar. This officer didn't break your arm. I saw you fall down a flight of stairs at that auditorium and break your own arm. I examined it.
Jerry, who is this man?
What about it, Stacy?
He doesn't know what he's talking about. I never saw him before in my life.
No, but I've seen you, Stacy. You were drunk. I saw you fall down those stairs.
You're crazy.
Joe, send Miss Gay in.
All right. All right, Miss Gay.
Okay, thanks.
Sure strong perfume.
You recognize any of these people, Miss Gay?
Hello, Pops.
I don't know you.
Don't you remember the perfume? You give it to me.
Who is this woman?
Just a friend, honey.
All right, Stacy, now let's have it straight.
It was all a mistake. I don't want to make trouble for anybody. It wasn't this cop's fault. I don't want to make any trouble.
What about this woman?
It was all a mistake, believe me.
You took that money, Gerald. You spent it on her.
Now, wait a minute.
Causing all this trouble, squandering our money. After all I did for you, you're no good. This time I'm through.
All right, Clark, let's go.
Okay.
Well, that's it.
I don't know how to thank you, fellas.
And doctor's the best friend you got.
Yeah? Yeah, I better call her wife. She'll want to know.
Friday, phone message for you here.
Oh, thank you. From your wife, Clark.
Yeah?
She found that doctor's card.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 2nd, trial was held in Municipal Court, Division 7, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Gerald Stacy was tried on charges of filing a false crime report. He was convicted under Section 5250 LAMC and served his term as prescribed by law. Officer Russell Clark was returned to duty with full back pay.
Ladies and gentlemen, in response to thousands of letters asking us to broadcast Dragnet at an earlier hour so that the entire family might hear it, we wish to announce that summer scheduling enables us to fulfill these requests. Beginning next Thursday, June 8th, Fatima Cigarettes will bring you Dragnet 1/2 hour earlier over most of these stations. Consult your local newspaper for exact time.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Hear your favorite Jack Birch tomorrow on NBC.
It's Maxwell House Coffee Time, starring George Burns and Gracie Allen. With yours truly, Bill Goodwin, and the music of Meredith Wilson and his orchestra. For deep down laughs and listening enjoyment, it's George and Gracie. And for deep down coffee drinking enjoyment, it's Maxwell House with extra flavor in the blend because of choice Latin American coffee skillfully combined. Extra flavor in the cup because Radiant Roast develops the full flavor of every coffee bean. And the result is that today more people buy Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in the world. Well, last week, George was left $5,000 in the will of his late Uncle Marvin. But the will, which was written 30 years ago, specified that the money had to be used for George's college education. Gracie talked him into enrolling at Beverly Hills Tech. And so we now find America's oldest and unhappiest college boy getting ready to leave for his morning classes.
Oh, gosh, honey, I feel like a darn fool going to college at my age. I dread that first class.
What is your first class?
American history. And I'm terrible. When I should have been studying history, I was in vaudeville.
Oh, I'll bet you're very good in history.
You do, huh? Yesterday, the professor asked, what great American stayed longest in the capital? I answered Al Jolson.
Oh, darling, even I know better than that.
Certainly.
Was Eddie Cantor.
Not doing so well in math, either. The professor flunked me.
He what?
He flunked me.
Well, you should have flunked him right back.
Well, I'm going to give up college. I'm not learning anything.
Not learning anything? Why, you're getting much smarter than me. There you are studying things like civics. And I've never even seen a civic.
I'll bring one home sometime.
You should be proud to be going to college and learning things.
But, honey, my friends are laughing at me. Last night, the fellas called up and wanted me to go to a burlesque show with them. I had to say, I can't, guys. Haven't finished my homework.
All right. But when you do go to a burlesque show, you'll enjoy it more because you've studied anatomy.
That's an advantage?
Well, of course it is. To them, a leg is just a leg. But you can tell a tibia from a fibula.
Oh, sure. I can whistle and stamp my metatarsal. I tell you, honey, I'm too old to go to college. Yesterday, we were discussing the Battle of Gettysburg, and the professor called on me.
Well, what's wrong with that?
He wanted an eyewitness account.
Oh, he was only kidding. You look very young. Well, I'll bet you win that contest they're having to pick the most popular man at Beverly Hills Tech.
Oh, don't be silly. I don't stand a chance.
Come in.
Well, hi, Burnses.
Oh, Bill, I want to ask you something. Doesn't George look young?
Young? George?
Here we go. All right, Bill. Come on, slug me.
Oh, George. I think you're terrific. You've got everything. Huh? Well, you know I think you're great, George. You're so... And you have such... And then there's your... Well, not to mention that... Well, I could go on saying those wonderful things about you for hours.
Well, all right, say a few. Would you say that George is handsome?
Well, there's not a handsomer man in the state of California.
Oh, why, Bill, you're handsomer than I am.
Well, all right then, one. You got me on a technicality.
small tent.
Well, would you say that George looks young?
Well, in his 20s.
Well, Bill, I believe you love George.
You bet I do, Gracie. Kind and clever, that's handsome young George. You know, about this time of year, handsome young George says to himself, what does deserving old Bill want for Christmas this year?
I got a TL for you, deserving old Bill. Handsome young George isn't getting any Christmas presents this year.
What?
Something tells me handsome young George has just heard his last kind word from deserving old Bill.
No Christmas present? Why, you miserable little miser. You antiquated little scarecrow.
Why, Bill, a minute ago you said that George was handsome in his 20s.
Well, he may have been handsome in his 20s, but who remembers 50 years ago?
Goodbye, humorist.
See you later, Scrooge.
You see, Gracie, let's stop kidding ourselves. College is not for me.
Well, George, your Uncle Marvin left you $5,000 to be used for your college education. Now, if you don't use it, what'll become of it?
I asked the lawyer that. He said it would go to a home for down-and-out actors.
Well, I'd much rather you got it now.
But, honey...
Think of the fine traditions of college. Think of the dignity and the stature it gives you just to be attending. Come in.
Is Georgie ready to go to school?
Oh. Be with you in a minute, Bobby.
I got a lot of books for you to carry today, Georgie.
Okay.
George, you have to carry that boy's books?
Certainly. He's a senior. I'm only a freshman.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, Georgie, why didn't you tell me you had a swell-looking sister?
Yeah.
And me hunting the doll for the senior prom. Well, this is just a hag for me to drag.
Look, Bobby,
why, she'll be the queen of the prom.
Yeah, me? Among all those college girls?
Are you kidding? Well, you're a slick chick. There ain't another tomato like you on Vine. Well, all right.
Well, all right.
We'll cut a rug. We'll really squirm, Worm.
Well, beat me to the socks, Bobby.
Beat me to the socks, Bobby. This chick is dynamite.
Well,
all right.
Okay, let's go to school.
So, Meredith, we've just got to keep George in college. I know you'll help because you're an intellectual like me.
Well, I've noticed that too, Gracie.
Yeah, it's up to us to guide George's footsteps so that he'll be brilliant and witty like us. And be able to discuss books and operas and things.
Yeah. Have you read any good books lately?
No.
Neither have I.
You've been to the opera recently?
No.
Me either.
Gee, what a shame that George can't discuss these things like we can.
Well, he will be able to if we can keep him from quitting college.
What does he want to quit for?
Well, he thinks he's too old. Now, if we could just get someone his own age to go to college with him now. Maybe someone on the radio.
They have some awfully old women on the Tom Brenneman program.
No, George isn't that old. And besides, we need a man, someone George can pal around with.
It'll be awfully hard to find them in radio because the stars of the big programs have already gone to college. Look at the Rudy Valley program and the Jack Benny program.
The star of the Jack Benny program is a college man?
Sure. Rochester went to college.
Meredith, you've given me a wonderful idea.
I have?
Jack Benny is the perfect man to go to college with George. They're old friends, and they both need an education. I'll go right over and see them.
Well, you'll never talk Jack Benny into going to college.
Oh, I don't know. There's always flattery.
Well, that's true. Any man with blood in his veins is susceptible to flattery.
Well, I'll try it on Jack anyway. See you later, Meredith.
Yes? Well, Gracie.
Oh, excuse me, I have the wrong house, Van.
Van?
Oh, aren't you Van Johnson?
No, Gracie, it's me, Jack Benny. Gracie, how could you possibly get me mixed up with Van Johnson? We're miles apart.
You are?
Certainly. He's at Metro and I'm at Warner Brothers. You thought I was Van Johnson. Well, come in and sit down, Gracie. Here, I'll turn on the light. Mustn't strain eyes as good as yours.
Jack, I've come to ask you a favor.
Anything at all. Van Johnson, that's cute. What is it you want me to do, Gracie?
Well, I want you to make George into a college boy.
Gracie, you misunderstood me. I'm with Warner Brothers, not Mayo Brothers. There aren't that many vitamin pills.
Oh, no, Jack, nothing like that. You see, George is already going to college, and I want you to go with him.
Me? Go to college?
College is oodles of fun, Jack. Football games, basketball, track meets.
No, forget it, Gracie.
Studying things like psychology, chemistry, languages.
No, I'm not interested.
Meeting grand fellows, making dates with pretty co-eds, reading good books.
What was that?
Reading good books.
No, the one before that.
Making dates with pretty co-eds?
Yes, that one seems rather interesting. I wonder if they'd mistake me for Van Johnson. They might if I got a crew haircut.
Oh, yes, you'd look wonderful in a crew haircut. And so distinguished. I'll bet you'd have the only gray one at school.
Well, I don't know about this college thing, Gracie. Of course, if I do it, it'll just be to help you and George, you understand. Are the co-eds really pretty?
Oh, beautiful. And all Jack Benny fans.
I mean, after all, you and George are my friends, but there's just one thing. Oh, not that it's important. I mean, not that I care, one way or the other, but, doesn't it cost a lot of money?
You a cent. George will pay your tuition and buy your books and everything.
Oh, Gracie, I couldn't let George do that.
You couldn't?
Well, if you put it that way, I guess I'm trapped. George would pay for everything, you say?
Oh, yes. You'll even get 50 cents a day for lunch.
50 cents?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can eat for 30, and that gives me 20 cents a day clear. Unless I eat with a co-ed. In that case, I save the whole 50 cents. All right, Gracie, it's a deal.
Good. Lunch for your first week will be $3. Here's the $5 bill.
Oh, wait, I've got your change right here in my pocket. Here you are. 4 halves. Or if you'd rather have it in bills, I'll get out my billfold.
Oh, no, don't bother getting undressed. And I'll take you right over to the Beverly Hills Tech and enroll you.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder if those co-eds will mistake me for Van Johnson. Maybe I better have Rochester give me just a little henna rinse. Oh, Rochester!
Oh, George, I'm so proud of you. You've really showed an interest in college these past few days, ever since Jack Benny started.
I can't get over that tightwad starting to college. I'd like to know what poor sapper's putting up the money. I'd laugh right in his face.
Oh, that'd be pretty hard for you to do.
Yeah. Huh?
I meant Jack wouldn't tell you. But I'm so happy about the progress you're making in your studies. I just adored it last night when you spoke to the waiter in French.
Yeah.
Without batting an eye, you said to him, "Bring me an order of la ham and la egg."
Well, I've been studying my French pretty hard. I'm not going to let Jack Benny get ahead of me. By the way, I got a surprise for you.
Oh, what?
I entered the contest for the most popular man at Beverly Hills Tech.
Oh, wonderful. I know you'll go.
Come in.
Hello, Gracie.
Oh, good morning, Jack. George will be ready to leave for school in just a minute.
Good. By the way, George, I saw the results of the chemistry quiz. Passing was 75. You got 29.
Holy smoke, 29?
That's right. You know, if you'd like me to coach you a little after school, I'd be glad to. I mean, there's no reason why your grades can't be up with mine.
What did you get, Jack?
31.
Well, anyway, I'll bet George is better than you are in French.
Better in French? Why, I know a whole sentence. Ouvrez la fenêtre.
What does it mean?
Open the window.
Well, suppose George doesn't know that. Does it matter?
Does it matter? Put him in France on a hot day and he'll suffocate.
You won't feel so smart, Jack Benny, when my husband is chosen most popular man at Beverly Hills Tech.
Gracie, are you by any chance referring to that contest at school which I have already as good as won?
Oh, are you running too?
Running? I could skip and beat George. In just an hour, I have an appointment with Betty Calhoun, the co-ed president. She's a little southern girl, and I think I know how to sew up the co-ed vote.
Oh, a southern girl, huh?
Yeah. Come on, George. Let's go to school.
Yeah. Run along, George. And don't worry about the co-ed vote. Oh, pardon me. Are you Betty Calhoun?
That's right. Was there something I could do for y'all?
Well, yes. I want you to get all the co-eds to vote for George Burns at the student rally tonight.
George Burns? That funny little old man?
Oh, please, Betty. I wish you wouldn't talk that way about my son.
Your son? How could you have a son his age?
Oh, I didn't when I had him. He was just a baby.
But he looks so old.
Oh, he isn't really. He just looks that way because he had such an unhappy childhood down south.
You don't mean to say that Mr. Burns is a show-enough southerner, too?
Too? Well, don't tell me you're from the south.
Couldn't y'all tell?
How could I?
Well, tell me about George's childhood.
Oh, it was awful. We were so poor, little Georgie didn't even have pants to wear.
Not even jeans?
Oh, hers wouldn't fit him at all. Oh, it was terrible. We tried to make a living, but everything went wrong. When the cotton market was high, we planted cotton. Up came wool.
But you get wool from sheep.
Oh, well, up came sheep and ate the cotton.
Oh, my goodness.
And then we planted tobacco. Some auctioneers came to buy it, but before we could figure out what they were saying, the tobacco was dead.
Right.
Miss Calhoun, now that you know George Burns was a poor, unhappy Southern boy, won't you get the co-eds to vote for him?
Well, I haven't talked to Mr. Benny yet.
Mr. Benny? You mean you'd even speak to that Yankee?
Are you sure he's a Yankee?
The worst kind, a northern Yankee. From Waukegan. His full name is Jack General Sherman Benny.
Do you mean he was named after General Sherman?
Yeah, and not very long after.
In that case, I'll downright snub him.
Well, get ready. Here he comes.
Well, shut my mouth. If it isn't lovely and charming Betty Calhoun. Why, ma'am, you all sure enough look as pretty as a magnolia blossom from my old sure enough plantation.
Oh, no.
And greetings to you all, Mrs. Burns, ma'am.
Hello, Amos.
Mr. Benny sounds like a southerner, but Benny isn't a southern name.
You all ain't heard my full name, ma'am. It's Lee Stonewall Magnolia Fort Worth Taters Benny.
Really?
LSMFT.
But aren't you from Waukegan?
I'm proud to say I am. Waukegan, Virginia. Garden spot of the South. Folks down there will be mighty unhappy if you all don't get me elected the most popular man at Beverly Hills Tech.
Oh, shame on you, Mrs. Burns, for calling this fine Southern gentleman a Yankee. Come along, Stonewall.
Who? Oh, sure enough. Goodbye, Mrs. Burns, you all.
Oh, that unscrupulous man. Cheating to win the election. Oh, thank goodness George had never stooped to deceit or trickery. Well, that leaves it to me, and I enjoy it so much. Hurry up and get dressed, dear. We'll be late for the student rally.
Oh, what's the use of going at all? Benny has got the co-ed vote sewed up.
Oh.
He'll swamp me.
He'll do nothing of the sort. Don't forget, every contestant will be called on to entertain tonight. And you're going to sing.
You think they'll like my singing?
Like it, oh, darling. Every time you sing, a chill runs up and down my spine.
Really?
Yeah, come on, sweetheart. Touch a spark of melody to the powder keg of your tonsils and blast me to paradise.
Okay. Ain't misbehaving.
Oh!
A chill did run up your spine.
Oh!
What was that?
Return trip.
But Benny is going to play his violin, and they might go for that.
Oh, don't be silly. What is violin playing anyhow? A horse's tail dragged across part of a cat. Believe me, when you sing, you sound better than any horse's tail or any part of a cat.
It's the sweetest thing you've ever said to me.
Besides, I wouldn't worry about Jack Benny. Bill Goodwin's going to introduce him, and I've had a little talk with Bill.
You wouldn't louse him up, would you?
College hasn't done a thing for you, has it?
All right, students. The contest for most popular man at Beverly Hills Tech continues. And now, it's a real honor for me to introduce this next contestant. A truly great artist.
That's me, folks.
He's a famous star of stage, screen, and radio.
I can't wait for television.
Not only a great wit, but a violin virtuoso.
That means I play well.
And here he is in person, John Bunny.
That's Benny, Jack Benny. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to play for you Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. I would like to, but I can't. Instead, I will play a famous old gypsy melody.
By the way, I forgot to say that Mr. Barney plays a...
Benny, that's Benny.
Oh, I forgot to say that he plays a Stradivarius.
Thank you.
Now, that's the finest violin made, you know. Go ahead, Mr. Boney.
Benny.
In fact, the Stradivarius is to violins what Maxwell House is to coffee.
Look, the students here would like if I play...
Well, of course they'd like it. More people buy and enjoy Maxwell House than any other brand of coffee in the world. Well, go ahead and play, Mr. Beanie.
Beanie.
Oh, speaking of beans, only superior coffee beans are blended and rated roasted from Maxwell House. That's why Maxwell House is so appetizing, rich, full-bodied, and mellow. Coffee at its full-flavored best, good to the last drop. And now, back to Mr. Benny.
That's Beanie. No. Can I play now?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Bunny. Thank you very much. Students, you have just heard John Bunny and his magic violin.
Wait a minute.
You've had your chance. You've had your chance.
Look, but I...
Step aside, Mr. O'Flaherty.
That's one I didn't expect.
And now, our next contestant for most popular man at Beverly Hills Tech is the campus heartthrob, that handsome singer of songs, Sugar Throat Burns.
Say, George, I know I'm licked, and just to show you I'm a good sport, there's no hard feelings, I'll accompany your song.
Well, gee, that's swell of you, Jack. I'm going to sing Ain't Misbehavin'.
Ain't Misbehavin'. All right, here's your introduction.
Jack. Jay. That's the wrong tune. Look, I'll start singing, then you follow me.
Ain't misbehaving all by myself. Ain't misbehaving, I'm happy on the shelf.
Look, Jack, follow me.
No one to talk to, saving all my love for, oh, baby, love for you, really saving love for you. Ain't misbehaving, I'm on the shelf by myself. Oh, no, I ain't misbehaving. It's love and blue. Daddy, go away.
George, I told you Jack Benny wouldn't win.
You were right.
Oh, darling, I'm so proud to be going to the prom with the most popular man at Beverly Hills Tech.
It's an honor, all right.
We'll dance our feet off.
Yeah.
Well, come on, Bobby. They're waiting for us at the prom.
We'll all read.
Well, all right.
Well, send me solid.
Latch on, Gage. We're swinging tonight.
Ta-ta, kid.
Goody, goody, Jello pudding tonight. It tastes like Grandma, only more so.
You ain't kidding, that's right. And just as Jello, 6 delicious locked-in flavors can't be beaten. So the proof of Jello pudding's in the eating.
The Jello twins are hard to find, but keep on looking in your store. When sugar shortages are over, there'll be more.
Just a taste of Jello pudding or a Jello and you know it's the one and only Jello.
Week when we'll all be back. George Burns, Gracie Allen, Meredith Wilson, the orchestra, yours truly, Bill Goodwin. Good night and good luck from the makers of Maxwell House, America's #1 brand of coffee.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
KFI, Los Angeles.
Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke.
Gunsmoke, presented by Army in Europe magazine, a monthly feature magazine for the use of a soldier and civilian.
Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the story of the violence that moved west with young America, and the story of a man who moved with it. I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely. Hello, Chester.
Well, I was just a minute coming over to the office, Mr. Dillon, and I had me a little glass of beer.
Oh? Well, that sounds like a pretty good idea. I'll have one with you. Can I have a beer, please?
Sure, Marshal.
What's the matter with Kitty over there? Isn't she speaking to us this evening?
Well, she ain't speaking to nobody, hardly.
Here you are. Ah, thanks.
She's been sitting there with her nose in that book ever since I come in here.
A book? Kitty? We'll have to look into this.
Chester.
Miss Kitty?
Sit down.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't see you come in.
Oh, you were too wrapped up in that thing there.
It's not a thing. It's a book of poetry.
Poetry?
Sure. That young Boston fellow that came through last week left it here.
Oh?
It's poems by Tennyson. I never knew words could be so beautiful, Matt. Here, listen to this. Here are cool mosses deep, and through the moss the ivies creep. And in the stream the long-leaved flowers weep, and from the craggy ledge the poppy hangs in sleep.
That sounds so nice, Miss Kitty.
Yeah.
That's quite a place he's describing, Kitty. Wherever it is.
Well, it's sure enough Dodge City.
Well, you could leave, you know, and find some place like that poem's about.
Oh, no, I won't. You know that. I don't even try anymore.
Yeah.
Marshal Sam Lackett's whopping his wife again. Something awful. They're right out here.
All right. I'll be back with that beer in a minute, Kitty.
Sure, Matt.
I'm to beat some sense into you if I have to break every bone in your body.
Sam, please.
All right, Lackett, that's enough.
Now, you just stay out of this, Marshal. What's between a man and his woman ain't nothing for the law to poke into.
Marshal,
She'd stay home like she ought to do. She wouldn't have no complaint.
I don't aim to have you lose all the egg money on gambling and drink.
Shut up, or I belt your teeth out of your head.
Don't hit her again.
I've already told you, Marshal. It ain't none of the law's business.
Well, a few days in jail might change your mind about that.
Jail? You jail a man just for keeping order in his own household?
I'll jail any man for beating a woman.
You can't jail me.
I can if she signs a complaint.
Oh, no, Marshal. I wouldn't do nothing like that.
You just let me catch you signing a complaint.
Miss Lackett, this isn't the first time he's hit you, and it's more than likely won't be the last unless he learns that he can't get away with it.
Oh, no. I wouldn't want to sign no complaint.
6 months ago, when Doc set those broken fingers for you, didn't Sam do that?
She's a liar if she says so.
No, it was the gate on the corral. One of the calves was trying to get out.
Oh? Well, you told Doc you dropped a piece of stove wood on it.
Well, I don't remember.
Well, what you better remember is where you left the wagon. Go get it. Get back out to the place. I'll have more to say to you later.
All right, Sam. I'll go.
Miss Lackett, you know you don't have to put up with any more of this. Now, if you want to sign a complaint, I'll see that you're protected.
No, Marshal, it's all right. I'll go.
Yeah. Maybe that'll learn you not to butt into a man's personal affairs more.
I'll butt in if you hit her again. I'm warning you.
I was hoping you'd flatten him, Matt.
I was too, Mr. Jones.
Give me a glass of rye, bartender.
Sure, Marshal.
Poor little gal. Matt, you remember Hester when she first came here from the east?
Yeah?
Some of the girls helped me, and we made her a wedding dress out of some linen tablecloth, all white. She's as pretty as a picture.
Well, she sure ain't very pretty now. After the way he treated her, no.
Well, Sam's had a lot of bad luck, Chester. 2 years of crop failures. Lost most of his herd from blackwater fever.
Is that her fault?
No. But it makes a man kind of short-tempered.
Those two are heading for something bad, Matt. I'll give you odds. How about it?
No, Kitty. I won't take that bet. Just like this, huh?
More. Deeper. All right, now. Breathe out. Slow. That's fine. Now once more. That's good. That's good. Now breathe out. Fine. Well, you can put your shirt back on now, Matt.
All right, Doc. You mean to tell me that you can really tell something about a man's health just by listening to him through that, whatever you call it?
That is called a stethoscope. Of course I can tell. Why else would I be doing it?
Just to impress people, maybe. I wouldn't put it past you.
Oh, impress who? An ignorant lout that's got no better sense than to go out and get a bullet through his lung?
I didn't do it on purpose, Doc. Besides, it's all healed up, isn't it?
Healed up. In that rawhide carcass of yours, of course it's healed up.
Oh, that's good.
You know, man, until I came to Dodge City, I had no conception of what the human body could endure. Like during the war, I've seen men die with wounds that you wouldn't even go to bed with.
And I always figure they can't bury you as long as you're on your feet, Doc.
Doc? What? Why, Mrs. Lackett.
Doc,
Doc, she's been beaten half to death.
That's about all I can do for her right now, Matt. Her nose is broken, and that one rib, and her eye is injured. I just don't know.
Nasty. You feel like telling me what happened, ma'am?
I don't know, Marshal. Nothing, I guess.
Miss Lackett, I wouldn't call it nothing when you were hurt so bad that you could hardly crawl up those stairs.
It don't matter. Nothing does anymore.
Now, how did it happen?
I don't remember, Marshal. I just don't remember.
It was Sam, wasn't it?
No. No, I fell off the wagon.
Now, all this didn't happen from a fall. You may as well tell me, Miss Lackett. I'm going to find out one way or the other. Now, was it Sam?
He'd kill me for telling me. He said he would.
He won't hurt you. I'll see to that.
I thought he was going to tonight. It seems like he just keeps getting more mean and cruel. Tonight I know he'd really have killed me if I hadn't gotten away.
He's not going to kill anybody. Now, look, you just signed a complaint, and I'll take care of him.
It's just all so different when we got married. Him and the way the world looked. Everything is different.
Miss Ladd, maybe that's enough talking for now.
I used to think back on it lots of times, laying awake at night, listening to the coyotes across the prairie. I don't do that much no more, but I used to. Like when we were first married. He was so kind and gentle. He'd tell me I was the prettiest girl he'd ever seen in his whole life.
Now, Miss Lackett,
He'd want me to put on my good dress, and when we'd sit in the porch in the evenings and wear my brooch with the pearls, he'd pin it on me himself, and would always laugh because he was so clumsy and he couldn't. That's what it was about tonight, Marshal. He wanted that brooch to bring into town and sell, but I wouldn't tell him where it was. What is it? Changes people that start out good and breaks them and turns them bad.
I don't know, man. It's time, maybe, or maybe it's a prairie.
A prairie. I hate it.
Will you sign the complaint, Miss Lackett?
Yes. Yes, I will, Marshal.
All right, everybody, quiet down. Course in session. I don't have much time. I rode in yesterday, ride out again tonight, so it don't matter whether you got business with this court or if you just come in off the street to loaf. Long as you're here, you got to show proper respect so we can get on with the cases. And let's see now. Here's the first thing you got here is a case of wife-beating Sam Lackett. Preliminary hearing is Sam in court. Yes, sir, he is, Your Honor. I just brought him over from the jail.
I ain't done nothing, Judge.
Sam, you'll get your chance to speak your piece. From what I hear about you, you're overdoing court anyhow. Is Marshal Dillon here? Chester, where's Matt? Well, I don't know, sir. I figured he'd be here, but now... Sure, we can't start this without him. Well, see, him and Doc was going to bring Miss Lackett, providing she felt up to it. According to Doc, she's have to lose a sight in one of her eyes.
Oh, it's a lie. She's just putting on, trying to make it hard on me.
Sam, I'll tell you right now, I don't like wife beaters. You get me mad, I'll find some legal loophole to hang you.
I ain't done nothing.
I'm sorry to be late, Your Honor.
That's all right, Matt.
Doc wasn't even too sure Miss Lackett was in any condition to come here, but she insisted that she was.
Well, she ought to be in bed.
He's going to tell you a bunch of lies.
All right, let's get on with it then. I'll read the complaint here, and then we'll see what we got to go on. Now, there's a complaint charging...
Your Honor, sir. Please, sir. Could I say something?
Well, it ain't quite in order, but I guess it's all right. What is it, Miss Lackett?
Well, it's about that complaint, Your Honor. I want to take it back. I don't know what I was thinking when I signed it. There ain't no truth in it, Judge. I fell. That's how I got hurt.
Yeah. I told you that complaint was a pack of lies, didn't I?
Well, Marshal?
She's afraid of him, Your Honor. She's scared to go through with it.
You're sure this is what you want to do, Miss Lackett?
Yes, sir. I'm sure.
It seems a shame to let a white-beaten scoundrel like him get off scot-free just by intimidating a witness. Now, if there was only some other charge, like resisting arrest or shooting off firearms... He did resist arrest, Your Honor. Mr. Dillon had to slap him flat. Well, in that case, Sam, $50 for 50 days.
Well, I ain't got $50, and you know it. And that's a dirty, crooked way of running things.
He's your prisoner, Matt.
All right, Your Honor. All right, come on, Sam. I got a big stack of firewood over at the jail just waiting to be cut. It's not locked. Come on in.
Morning, Marshal.
Oh, how are you, Miss Lackett? Here, you take this chair, huh?
Thank you kindly. Good morning, Chester.
How you feeling, ma'am?
Well, kind of old somehow, Chester.
Old? Must be all of 25, I guess.
Well, it ain't the years that make you old, Marshal. I didn't come to talk about that, though.
You shouldn't be here at all, Miss Lackett. Doc told you to stay in bed for another week at least, didn't he?
Well, I just couldn't get used to it, Marshal. It didn't seem proper.
Well, you want to talk to Sam, huh?
How's he taken to it, Marshal?
Mean? Maybe we can work some of that out of him by the time his 50 days are up.
Well, now, the way I recollect it, the judge said $50 or 50 days.
Yeah, that's right.
And that if the fine was to be paid up, you'd turn him loose.
Well, yeah. $41 as it stands now. He's been here 9 days, but I doubt anybody's going to pay me more.
I want to pay his fine, Marshal.
What?
I got the money. I sold my brooch to one of the girls at the Lawn Branch. Here, see?
Yes, I see.
But Miss Lackett, he pretty near killed you a couple of weeks ago. Next time he might just do it.
No, Chester, he won't. There you are, Marshal. $41.
Well, all right, go get him, will you, Chester?
Yes, sir, but...
Miss Lackett, why are you doing this? First withdrawing your complaint in court and now paying his fine and getting him out. Why?
I don't know exactly. At least not how to put it in words. I've been trying to think things out for the last 2 weeks. My life and how it's wasted and what's become of me and all.
Well, you'll get over this in time.
No, Martha. You get beat just so many times and you get over it. Then there's one finally you don't get over. Because there ain't nothing left of you.
Esther, what do you think you're doing here? Come around the gloat, did you?
No, Sam.
You just paid your fine, Sam. You're being released.
Well, So you finally come to your senses.
That's right, Sam.
And you, Marshal, maybe this will learn you not to interfere between a man and his wife from now on. I don't call a wife, Peter, a man.
Ain't you done no thinking, Sam? Ain't you even sorry at all for what you done to me?
You better keep your mouth shut if you know it's good for you. What I done ain't nothing to what'll happen to you if you try lawing against me again.
You'd beat me. Is that what you're saying?
I'll beat you a plenty you don't stand lying. I might just throw you clean off the place. I can't see no reason keeping somebody as ugly and broken up as you.
And it's still the same. And it'll go on being. You ain't changed one bit.
You really think you would, Miss Lincoln?
I just hoped that was all, Marshal. The last little piece of hope I had. Sam, come over here by the window. I brought you a present. I got it wrapped up in here.
What'd you do? Finally sell that brooch of yours?
I let you off in court, Sam. But I guess you're kind of back in court now. Charged with killing a woman. Your wife. How do you plead, Sam?
I don't know what you're talking about.
How do you plead?
I'll plead you when I get you out to the place.
No, you won't. And if you won't answer the charge, or even say you're sorry or promise to do better, then the court's going to decide for you. He's a gun!
That's like it, don't do it.
You're guilty, Sam. That's the way the court decides. Guilty. Here's the gun, Marshal. I reckon you'll want it for evidence.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The script was specially written for Gunsmoke by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Meston. The music was composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns were by Ray Kemper and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Parley Bear as Chester, Howard McNear as Doc, and Georgia Ellis as Kitty. George Walsh speaking. Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.